my budgeting friends. Happy Tuesday. I wanted to come on here today and talk about how to create a retirement budget from scratch. And this is for anyone who has never done a budget, has avoided budgets, doesn't know where to start. Maybe you did a budget, but it didn't feel right or it didn't work. So I'm just kind of going to go through the process of how I first started my budget, how to create my budget. So if you don't know me, I am Gigi from Gigi's Retirement Budgets. I am a Gigi of 4 grandchildren, 11 months to 11 years. Baby girl turns 1 year, 1 year old on the 27th of this month. And I am just on here trying to show how I budget my retirement income to save money, to pay off debt, and to live the retirement of my dreams, which right now revolves around my grandchildren, and that's a season. I currently only make a total of $2,965 a month. So I am showing on here how I am able to survive and save money and all that on $2,965 a month. $1,228 of that is my military retirement, and $1,737 of that is my Social Security. So the first thing you want to do, so I am on here trying to help people that are on a retirement income, Social Security, fixed income, or anyone trying to live paycheck to paycheck, and you just don't ever seem to have enough money left over, or you have no idea how you're going to save any money. You just can't seem to get ahead. I know that struggle of taking 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. Last year, I was doing this and I saved around, I think, $6,000. The most I had ever saved on my own, short of getting a windfall of money, right? Like when I left my corporate job in 2018, I got laid off. So I got like a severance pay of like $32,000. But $6,000 was the most that I had ever saved on my own by my own control, right? By my limiting my spending, all that kind of stuff. And then my daughter lost her job, and then I had to help her pay her bills, and I ended up spending all that money. So, it can be, you can take 2 steps forward and take 5 steps back, and it feels like you're never getting anywhere, right? But our backup plan should always be to get back up, to keep on trying, to keep moving forward. There are definitely going to be financial setbacks. This month for me is a financial setback. I have some bills that came due that I hadn't saved for because it was too close from when I started again, and I was focused on other things. So I had to put a lot of my saving challenges on hold for this month to focus on paying off these bills. And it's not as fun without the savings challenges. I'm going to be honest. I love doing the savings challenges because I was doing them like every day, and it's playing a game, right? And it makes savings fun. But you can still make this work. And the thing is that I think a lot of people that when they start budgeting, they get overwhelmed. So I'm going to break it down over the next few days on how to start your retirement budget, what to focus on, what not to focus on, and that kind of stuff. So I've been brainstorming with ChatGPT in my own mind to come up with some things for you. Okay, so you want to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of these, but you also want to hit the notification button, because the notification button will notify you when I upload another video. And you're not going to want to miss any of these if you're new to budgeting or you want to try it again. And like I said, even though a lot of my keywords on my YouTube video and where it's pushing out to is retirees, because that's what I am, this is really for anyone that wants to learn how to budget. So when you go to create a budget from scratch, I would get a blank piece of paper and go through these steps. Number one, you want to start with what is your monthly income? And you want to look at all your income sources, okay? You want to look at your Social Security benefits, your pension payments, your retirement account withdrawals, like your 401k or your IRA. You want to look at any side hustle or part-time work income that you might have, and any investment income like dividends and rental property. And then you're going to total all these amounts, and this is your income baseline, okay? Really important, your income baseline. So for me, I have my income sources are my Social Security, and I have military retirement on here, which it doesn't list. But my military retirement, I was in the military for 6 years. I did not retire from the military. But my military retirement is half of my ex-husband's, because the military has a clause that if it's for spouses, former spouses, after you get a divorce, the clause is that if you were married to your military spouse for 20 years, at least 20 years, and they served in the military for 20 years, then you get half of their military retirement. Because I could never really just build a career because I'm traveling around wherever he's going, right? It's a lot easier today with the internet. Like, if we had the internet back then, that would have been way easier. I mean, computers were just starting back then, back in the early 80s. So, yeah. So that's where my military retirement comes in, although I am a veteran. So this is your income baseline, okay? So my income is Social Security is $1,737, and my military retirement is 128 a month. So that comes out to 2,965 a month, okay? Now you want to identify your fixed expenses. Let's move this up a little. Now you want to identify your fixed expenses. Like, if you got a piece of paper out, I would maybe do some grids for each one of these and just start brainstorming, right? So for your fixed expenses are expenses that are the same pretty much every month. So like your housing costs, your mortgage, your rent, your property taxes, your HOA fees, your utilities, electricity, water, gas, internet, phone. My electric is not the same every month. Your insurance, health, home, auto, and life. Any debt payments you make towards loans, credit cards, car payment. I would put these, identify it under your fixed expenses, but you're going to eventually move this to debt. Okay. And then subscriptions or memberships, TV, streaming, gym. Okay. Okay. So that's your fixed expenses. I live in a 4-generational household. I don't think that I would be able to survive on my own on this. But because I live in a 4-generational household, it does allow me to save some money. Which, if people are sharing expenses, right, you should have a little bit left over to be able to save, which is good. So I live with my mom. Well, technically I am the leaser on this house. So my mom, my sister, and my daughter live with me. And my 2 grandchildren, my daughter's kids, live with us part-time, 50%. They have shared custody with their dads, 2 different dads. So we share in all of pretty much our fixed expense. Well, we share with housing and utilities and subscriptions. So that's the shared expenses that we have. And those are the biggest expenses we have. So our total rent is $2,350 a month. So you could see I could never rent this place by myself. And so it's divided by 4. So each person pays $590 for rent. And then, so we share all that. Okay. So after you figure out your fixed expenses, then you're going to go list your variable expenses. Now, your variable expenses are the ones that change all the time, like are different amounts every month, right? Now, you can kind of make these more stable by making these like sinking funds or having their own cash envelopes that you're putting a certain amount in every month. So like for groceries, I put in usually $100 a paycheck, and household, I put in $10 a paycheck. Okay. You don't have to put the amounts right now. I'm just kind of showing you how I do this to maybe to help you visualize this a little bit more, how you could do this when you're going through your list, okay? So this is household. Hopefully this isn't confusing you. All right. Gas and transportation, I usually do $100 a paycheck. So that's $50 a week for gas. And then clothing and personal care, I really don't do clothing right now. I have a ton of clothes. In fact, I just went through my closet and my drawers and got rid of a bunch of stuff to go to Goodwill. So personal care, I usually do $10 a week. I do my own nails, and apparently they need to be done because they are super chipped right now and long. I just have not had any time. Dining out, coffee, I do $50 a paycheck. Travel or vacations, that's kind of dependent on what I have coming up. Sometimes I don't always have stuff coming up, right? Gifts and holidays, I do $25 a month for birthdays and $150 a month for Christmas. And then I also have my own personal, this is birthdays forever for other people. My own personal birthday challenge that I created because I'm throwing myself a huge Mardi Gras party in January. So just brainstorm, like, what your variable expenses are. At this point, you don't have to know what the dollar amounts are. If that's confusing you, ignore it, okay? And then you want to include your healthcare costs. So any premiums you have, supplemental insurance plans, prescriptions, medical copays and treatments, an emergency healthcare fund. I also want to put, because some plans are different, also put in your eye plan and your dental plan. Now, I am going to be switching over to TRICARE Prime. Open enrollment is in December. So including the eye care plan and the dental plan, I think it's going to be somewhere between $400 and $600 for the year, which I think is really good because my son has a medical condition. And for years, I didn't know this. He was working at like Applebee's, like he didn't really have any insurance. And he was paying $1,000 a month for insurance. And when I found out, I was like, this is crazy. I was working in corporate at the time. I got him on my plan because he was under 26. But, so I think this is a really good cost for, for medical. So I started actually doing this type of budgeting back in, I think May was the first month I did it. So a lot of this is calculated based off from May to a certain date. So May to December, I wanted to save $900. So I think it came out to $150. The birthdays, I may have to step up later, but for right now, this is good because we're pretty much over all the birthdays for the rest of the year. So this will be banking. Most of our birthdays are in May, the end of April, and then through May. And I call it Birthday Palooza month. And then, so based on this, and when I started, I am budgeting $58 a month for my medical to opt in to have this much by December when the open enrollment period is, okay? And then you want to plan for your savings and your goals. Now, this stuff is all going to come last Okay, you want to make sure that you take care of all your living expenses, your variable expenses, and your health care first. And in a couple days, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 categories that you always want to make sure that you fully fund first, and then the top 5 categories that you want to wait till the absolute last. Okay, so I would say when you're first starting out, let's see, we've got emergency fund, long-term savings, special events, home repairs, legacy. So I would say when you're doing all this for your beginning, you may want to special focus on maybe some of these coming up and maybe throwing in a little bit every month for this. Even if you're throwing in $5 a paycheck to certain categories, it still all adds up. You'll be surprised how fast it adds up. Now, if you're going to follow Dave Ramsey's 7 steps to be financially free, or however he puts it, you want to start with saving up for a $1,000 emergency fund. And this is really good to help you get out of credit card debt. Because once you can get your $1,000 emergency fund built up, then if you have a family emergency, you don't have to get a loan and you don't have to put it on your credit card. So that helps you to become debt-free. Okay? So once you've got all this set and maybe you have some extra money, then you can start looking at these things. But I wouldn't look at these right off the bat. Okay? Now, once you have all your categories, then you need to decide on what budgeting method you're going to use. And you can be a hybrid budgeter. I am a hybrid budgeter. So the budgeting methods are the cash envelope system, which is better control over spending, meaning that you put cash in your envelopes and once you spend all that money, that's it. You're done. Okay? You can't spend any more in that category. There's the percentage method, which is 50% needs, 30% wants, and 20% savings. I don't really like that one personally. And then there's zero-based budgeting, which assigns every dollar for a purpose. So I actually use the cash envelope system and the zero-based budget. So when I am making my monthly budget, my overall monthly budget, which includes my military and my Social Security pay and all my bills for the month, I use zero-based budgeting. I assign a dollar every purpose, and at the end, I have 0 left in my budget. But I also do the cash envelope system. Now, like all my fixed expenses and some of my debt, and I have some business bills, those all go out automatically, or I go in and manually pay them from my account electronically. Whatever's left over as far as my spending categories and the categories I'm actually carrying around in my wallet every day, right? And my savings challenges, I always take cash out for those. So for example, let's look at my wallet real quick. So for my wallet, this is what I carry around every day. These are the categories that I always have in my wallet for just my general spending when I'm out and about. So I have giving, I have eating out and coffee, I have groceries, I have gas. This is where I put all my receipts because I have an app called Fetch. And when you scan in your receipts, you get points that you can turn into gift cards. And I will put the link and my code below if you want to get that app. It's really super easy. You're just scanning in your receipts and you're earning money. I have kids. I budget so much a month for my grandkids, and then that way if we're out and about and we're stuck somewhere or we're out running errands and they get thirsty or whatever, or they want something to eat, we can get something out of here. But I also save letter bucks. And so whenever I find a letter buck, which is this letter right here, for my grandchildren or myself. This one's a G for me. I put them in the kids envelope here. I don't spend those, but I keep them there until I go to do my letterbox challenge, and then I pull them out of here. And then I've got my pets. We have a ton of cats. We live out in the country. We have a ton of cats, and we have 2 dogs. And then my business. I have a lot of my business expenses that come out automatically, but I put cash in here in case I'm at Michael's or I'm at Target or I'm somewhere and I see something really cute that I want for my business. Then I will buy it. Like this really cute purple pencil cup I found at the Dollar Tree, right? So I'll pay cash for that. And then I have my household one. In my high priority binder, I have things like self-care and vacation and cash in those. So when it comes time to spend that or I'm going to go shopping, then I will take those envelopes out and put them in my wallet. So, and then I also keep track on paper because I'm a pen and paper person, but I also keep track of my budget on my computer because, and it's a Google Doc, because if I'm out and about and I'm questioning something, I'm not always looking at my laptop or have my laptop or have this binder with me that has my budget in it. So I can bring the Google Doc up on my phone and I can look at it. Okay. And then you want to, after you decide on which budgeting method you're going to use, then you're going to track and adjust monthly. You're going to review your actual spending versus your budgeted amounts and see how you're doing. This month, I feel like I've done really bad on my spending. I somehow messed up some stuff, which I've got to review. I try to keep track, and sometimes I miss things. Like I'm keeping track on each envelope, keeping track of what I'm spending and how much I have left in here. But also in the receipts, I keep track of everything that I'm spending. So that's all these envelopes in one place. And it just seems like a big, huge mess right now. So I need to figure this out. Because this month, and I think it's because also I have all these extra bills this month. It just feels a little bit crazy. So I'm going to have to do at the end of the month, I'm going to have to actually do a big, huge review of what I actually budgeted and what I actually spent and see if I need to adjust my budget for September. So then once you review it, then you're going to adjust your envelopes or categories as needed, and you're going to look for areas to cut back without sacrificing your quality of life. This is really important, without sacrificing your quality of life, because if you budget so strictly that you can never go out to eat, you can never buy a little trinket for yourself, you can never go out and just have ice cream, or you don't have gas money to just even go to a park or go somewhere to just like unwind or, meditate, pray, whatever, right? Like you are just going to feel so constricted and controlled that you're totally going to ditch this whole thing. So look for areas that you can cut back that aren't going to sacrifice your quality of life. Now, I know people need streaming apps, right? We don't have cable at our house. So we have Netflix, we have Discovery, we have HBO Max, we have Prime. Now, Prime I get Prime for free with my telephone plan, my cell phone plan. My sister pays for a couple of those, and I think my daughter pays for one, because we don't have cable. And I know people want to watch TV, right? But a friend of mine, I was recently talking to a friend of mine, and he was talking about his budget, and he has like almost every streaming platform you could think of. And it's really eating into his budget. And he's concerned because he's like, I just don't know how to get control of my budget. But he doesn't want to sacrifice any of those streaming plans, even though some of them he's not even really using. So I personally think he could get rid of some of them and free up some money, and still have a couple, and he wouldn't be sacrificing his quality of life if he cut down on his streaming platforms, right? But that's a personal choice. But if you're saying that you don't have money left over at the end of the month, or you're super stressed about paying your bills and you don't have any extra money, or you can't ever go out with your family or do fun things, then, you know, you need to look back at areas that you can cut back on. And is it going to be forever? No, it's not going to be forever. As you start saving and you're paying off debt and all this, you start freeing up more money. And then you, can bring some of those things back. So here's some tips for success. Number one, start simple. Don't overcomplicate the first month. And I would say don't overcomplicate like the first 3 months. You really need to get into the basics and just practice the basics for about 3 months before you really get into savings challenges and the more complicated things. Use savings challenges to make budgeting fun. I would say after 3 months. But on one of my videos coming up this week, I'm going to talk to you about how you can do some little tiny savings challenges in those 3 months to really to help you feel like you're getting a win, to show you some little areas that you can save money that's really super simple that you may have never thought of. Okay. And then you want to revisit and adjust your budget every month. And you definitely want to celebrate small wins to stay motivated. So in here, in my wallet, when I got this wallet, I was so excited because I was using a different one before. I have a change purse, okay? And I never spend my change. All my change goes in here, and periodically, it's so tight though because it's new. Periodically, I will take the change out of here, okay? And I will, this thing's so heavy, put it in this coin jar. Now, when I first started doing this, I had a mason jar, and I was keeping track of how much I was putting in here on a piece of paper. But then as time went on, and I had saved a little money in my business categories and stuff, I got this coin jar, which adds it all up for me as I add to it. So I have been saving coins since the beginning of May in here. And it's about a fifth full, maybe. It's heavy. I'm not going to be able to save it till it's full. I won't be able to carry it. But just saving change, I've saved almost $50 just in change. From the beginning of May. So May, June, July, 3 full months, right? I've saved $50 just in change. So I'm going to give you a bunch of different tips like that of what you can do to save money, little things. All right. So that is all I wanted to talk about today, I think. So hopefully this helped you. In my shop, which I'm going to link below, I have a budgeting basics packet, and I will link that packet directly to it so you don't have to like go to my shop and look through all my challenges and try and figure out which one it is. But I will link it directly so you can just go straight to it. It's a budgeting basics packet, which has like a budgeting sheet, a cash planning sheet, and some of this stuff I will be going over the next week. So you don't have to do it all in one shot, right? But I would start today with focusing on these 8 different things, right? You're going to start with figure out your monthly income. You're going to identify your fixed expenses. You're going to list your variable expenses. You're going to include your healthcare costs, okay? And then optional for right now is plan for savings and goals. And then you're going to decide on which budgeting method you want to use. And then I would stop there, right? Because next you're going to have to figure out how to put it on a budgeting sheet, which I will show you how to do, which the different areas and stuff. But then just for future reference, you're going to want to track, just know that you want to track and adjust monthly. And here's some tips for success. Okay. So I hope you found this valuable. Please subscribe if you want to hear more. I'm going to be giving these tips. So the reason I'm going through this series right now, like I said, is I don't have much extra cash this month because of my extra bills. I usually do savings challenges every day. I'm used to posting a video every day. So because I won't be doing as many challenges this month, I didn't want to just leave big gaps where I'm not filming anything. So this is why I'm going to be doing this series, and it's going to be the whole month. So make sure you subscribe and you hit that notification button. But I would love, 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 love to get engaged with you guys over this stuff. If you have any questions or concerns, go ahead and comment and give me a like on this video if you found it valuable, and let's have some conversations, maybe where you're struggling or where you need help. All right. So that is it for me. My shop is called Lavender's Dreamy Paper Studio. That is my kitten's name. And I will see you on tomorrow's video. Love, Gigi and Lavender.